We're rolling. Okay. Hey guys, how are we? Why did I clap? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Steph. How are we? I've already said that. Today is a video that I've wanted to do for a very long time. I've thought about doing for a very long time and haven't really had the balls to do so. And I wanted to make sure I got it right. Like, I wanted to sit down and plan it and make sure I didn't forget anything, blah, 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 blah. So let's just get into it. You may or may not have seen on my Instagram, if you don't follow me, it's Healthy Chef Steph. The beginning of last year I had a very public breakup, so my entire relationship with this person had been online for 2 years. We were very open, shared all aspects of our relationship, so then we kind of felt like we kind of needed to make an announcement, as cringe as that sounds, just because we were getting asked so many questions why we weren't spending time together and that kind of thing, and it was kind of just easier for the both of us to just kind of put something out there to be like, it's done, don't ask us about it, thank you, next kind of thing. It was really savage, it was a really hard time, and it's even harder when there's all eyes on you, asking questions, wanting to know more answers than you put in your lengthy caption and things like that. So I kind of just wanted to talk to you about how I got over heartbreak, basically. I do kind of just want to say, as a little disclaimer now, this is not a video to bash my ex. I'm not like that. We definitely aren't friends, but we aren't enemies, so I'm not here to like slag him off or anything. He's a great guy, just not for me. Peace. And also, this isn't like a oh my god feel sorry for me video either, because I will just say I was the one that instigated the breakup. It wasn't because I'd fallen out of love with him or anything like that. I just knew long term he wasn't right for me, and I knew that we weren't going to be together forever, so I kind of had to make this hard decision to just call it a day early, which it wasn't an easy decision in the first place. Like, it wasn't an easy decision. So as much as he was shocked and whatever, it was hard for me too, because I still loved him at the time, so getting over that was hard for me too. So I think I have a right to say this. Sometimes when you are instigating the breakup, you can be heartbroken too, just as much as the person that was getting broken up with. So anyway, let's begin on how to heal your broken heart. That sounds like the intro to a new TV show. First things first, don't blame yourself. I can only speak in terms of the person ending the relationship. I mean, loads of people have pied me before, so I know how it feels to be pied. The first thing that you can't do is blame yourself. Don't blame yourself for someone not wanting to be with you or not seeing the amazing things that you have to offer someone. Going through a breakup, you go into self-destruct mode where you think that you're not good enough, you're not attractive enough, you're not charming enough, that kind of thing. And that's not always the case. Just because a relationship has come to the end doesn't mean that either person is a bad person. You could just not be right for each other. You can't put all of that weight on yourself and be self-destructive, because you've already lost a huge person from your life. You don't need to start criticizing yourself as well. My favorite quote is, everything in life is either a love or a lesson. In this situation, because you've lost the love, or the love that you thought you had or that you thought you needed, you need to look for the lessons. All of these things that I say in this video, it's going to be difficult, because if you're fresh to a breakup right now, you probably have that pain in your stomach, that sinking feeling in your heart, that don't want to get out of bed, there's no point in living kind of feeling, that really heaviness, that dark cloud hanging over you. I get it, and it's horrible, and every day you want to cry and you just don't feel yourself and you feel horrible, and I get it, and it's so hard to then look for the positives. But I just want to say, you control your mindset. Like, you have full control over your brain, what your thoughts are. The moment you have a negative thought, you can have it, let it settle, and then focus on something else that's more positive. So I just want to reiterate, you have control over your thoughts. Even with this sinking feeling, try and just not blame yourself. Don't criticize yourself, okay? One of the biggest tools that I have learned through all of this is you have to allow yourself to be hurt. I felt bad for being emotional because I was obviously the one that ended it, but you need to let yourself cry it out. You need to let that release of emotion go. In a sense, you're grieving someone. You are grieving someone. You have had this huge part of your life, your other half, and suddenly that's been ripped away from you. Your norm and your everyday is changed. It's gonna be hard. Like, every little thing is gonna remind you of that person, and it is gonna be difficult to deal with. So don't put the pressure on yourself that you should be up and moving in a week, in 2 weeks, or a time limit of when you should be doing things. Like, really let those emotions settle and don't hide them. I think sometimes you can build a wall up in front of them, and then it will just come crashing down in a couple of months, and then you'll feel heartbroken. Whereas if you just face it head on and you just allow yourself to feel how you're feeling, talk to your friends, talk it out, it makes such a difference. Because I know for the first month after the breakup, I was fine. I was in Tenerife. I was living my life in Australia. I was having a great time, and it was good to take it off my mind. But then as soon as I got home, reality hit, and whoosh, like that sinking feeling came back. So I think journaling is amazing. If you sit down with a notepad and a pen and you write down every feeling, good, bad, whatever, just day to day, and you just put it all out onto paper, because if not everyone has someone to speak to. So I'm really lucky that I was close with my mum. I've got a lot of like girlfriends that I could call in my time of need and stuff, but some people don't have that. So if you don't, get yourself a notebook, and it's your little safe haven, and you write down any concerns or any worries that you have, but also have a little section on that page from the day of some positives. So for me, when I got back from Australia and it all hit me, I was in a really emotional place, and for me getting out of bed was a huge positive, or going to the gym was a huge milestone. So you need to celebrate these micro victories, because this person that gave you so much love has suddenly left your life, or you've pushed them away from your life, and you have to feel that love that's missing inside you, and the only person that can do that really is you. So you have to fill in those little gaps that are missing with positive energy and positive thoughts. And I promise you, as hard as that may be, the more you think positively, the more positive things will come. Because like I said, you've got gaps in you that you need to fill. You're gonna feel empty, and you're gonna feel lost, and you're gonna feel like a shell of yourself, and all of these emotions are totally normal. I wish I had a video like this to watch when I was going through this. Like, I wish I had someone just telling me, like, you are going to be okay, I promise you. It feels like the end of the world right now. It feels savage and horrible, and it is, and don't let anyone take that away from you, because no one can relate to what you're feeling, because only you lived in those intimate moments, and only you know what you've lost. But I promise you, it will get easier. Just the more you think positively about yourself, about your situation, the more you look for the positives. The next thing on my list is self-care. So it's very easy to go through a breakup and do what you see in the movies, when you just sit in your pajamas all day, eat Ben and Jerry's out of the tub, and do nothing, and just become a vegetable or a sloth. That is fine to do for a couple of weeks, but realistically that's not going to make you feel better long term. So one thing I would do is just focus on your self-care. Be that going to the gym and taking an hour out for yourself to just move. Moving is so important. There's a very thin line between emotional pain and physical pain. Like, the reason why you feel these feelings, this heaviness, is because there's a very thin line. So if you get moving and you get those endorphins flowing, it's science. I don't know how it works, I can't explain it, but it just works. So even if you just get up, leave the house and go for a little walk, even if it's minus 100 degrees and it is freezing, put on a scarf and get moving. You don't have to go and do a Barry's boot camp or a savage session until you feel like you're going to pass out. Just movement, putting on a little yoga tutorial on YouTube or on the Fit app or whatever. Just flowing, moving your body, rolling your shoulders, just getting up, out of bed, out of the seat, off of the sofa, and just moving. So that is one element of self-care. Another element is do a face mask. Give yourself a nice little glow. Do your hair, brush your hair, wash your hair, paint your nails, go to get your nails done. Sorry, I'm only talking about a girl's perspective here. If there's any guys watching, I unfortunately can't relate to what it's like to be a guy. But this is what I would do in a breakup situation. So guys watching this, sorry, you could get a manicure, you could go get guy nails if that's a thing, but yeah, I can't really relate to the guy situation. Okay, this is a big one, and I can learn from personal experience. Stay away from social media. Don't look. Don't check their Twitter, don't check their Instagram, don't check their Facebook, don't check their mum's Facebook, don't check their brother's Facebook, don't check their dog's Facebook, don't check anything. Okay, just zone them out. The hardest thing about ending a relationship is holding on to hope. This is so hard because there's so many different varieties of a breakup, but for me personally, cold turkey was the best bet. Just no contact, no communication is just a lot easier, because otherwise you hold on to this hope that you're going to get back together and everything is going to be the same. But say a relationship's broken up because of lack of trust or whatever, what if you got back together and things got way worse and it was an even harder breakup? Like, I personally think cold turkey is the way forward. I'm gonna expose myself as being a little bit psycho right now. I can't even believe I'm admitting to this. When my ex and I first broke up, I may have set up a teeny tiny little account on Instagram just to like watch his stories and stuff, because I was missing him. So it was one of those, like, it looks like a fake account. It was like 0 following, 0 followers, 0 posts. Yeah, I had one of those for like a couple of months after the breakup, just because I didn't want him to know I was watching off of my personal account. I'm telling you this so you can learn from my mistakes, just FYI, and if he's watching this, hey, how's it going? I'm telling you this so you don't make these mistakes, but I was still watching his social media, and the only way I can explain it is social media is a window into someone's life. It's not an open door. You don't see the dark times, you don't see everything. Like, people put out what they want you to see. You only see 1% of their day. So I was watching him like living his best life with all his mates. He went away for a bit, and I was just like, oh my god, he's not hurting. And that was really hard because I was like in my room crying every night, and I was like, oh my god, he's fine. Like, why am I feeling so shit when he's fine? It's really hard to compare your inner thoughts to someone else's online persona, because they're putting out a certain message. You don't know what they're internally actually thinking, and when you're blinded by like heartbreak and stuff, you just think they're okay, and that can make you feel so much worse. There were certain situations that made me even more heartbroken that I just wish I didn't know. So for example, I'm really exposing myself. On the flight back from Australia, I just had the most amazing 2 weeks of my life. Australia was a massive dream for me to visit, and I'd flown over for 2 weeks with my best friend. We'd travelled around. It was honestly incredible. It was a trip that I'd been looking forward to for months and months and months. Didn't even think about him, didn't check his social media, wasn't using my fake account, and got on the flight home and realised it was Valentine's Day, and realised it would have been our like 2-year date anniversary or something. I can't really remember, but it was like a significant day. So I went on my fake account. I had Wi-Fi for 1 hour, watched his story, and not only was he out having a good time on Valentine's Day, he was at a place that he'd always said he wanted to take me to, which he never did, with another girl on Valentine's Day, less than a month after the breakup. Well, no, it was just over a month after the breakup. I'll give him some credit. And that broke me. One thing I will say is when you see someone move on for the first time, it will be the most painful, gut-wrenching feeling. It will feel like someone's literally got a dagger and shoved it through your broken heart pieces. But expect that, because if you can get through that, you can get through the next few stages, and it will just, the pain will lessen and lessen and lessen. So I remember seeing that, and I was on a plane by myself. It was the first ever long haul flight that I'd done by myself for 24 hours. So far away from my family, I wasn't going to get a cuddle from my mum for like 22 hours at this point. I was hyperventilating, crying. It was a night flight, so I was snuggled in my little bed. I was trying to not wake anyone up with my crying, so I was like like shaking. It was so embarrassing. But I remember coming home from that, and I just didn't want to leave my bed. I was like, oh my god, he's moved on already, blah blah blah, I'm disposable, I'm replaceable, the whole relationship's a lie. Like, I was just like, oh my god, how can you meet someone that quickly? Every question possible was going through my head. I lost quite a bit of weight at this point as well, just because I was just, it's grieving. Like, if you look up, I think it's the 7 stages of grieving. If you look up that on Google, it tells you like the exact 7 stages. I'm gonna do it now. Whilst I was going through this situation, someone told me to look this up. This may not happen to you in this order, but it's really interesting to read. You can read into it in more detail, but you have shock and denial, pain and guilt, anger and bargaining, depression, reflection, loneliness, the upward turn, reconstructing and working through, acceptance and hope. Is it 6 stages of grief? Okay, so now Google's confusing me and saying there's like 5 stages of grief, and there's some with 7, but I guess some people suffer different things in between. Anyway, I like this one, so we're going to stick with this one. So that's like a cycle that you go through that takes time and work. I think in that stage I was in like the depression stage. I was like really sad, really emotional, whatever, and in those moments, in my lowest point, some friends that I'd not seen in ages came forward that I became close to, and I spoke about how I was feeling as much as I could, and I think in that moment I really cried out and I faced it head on. I knew at that point the fact that he'd got with someone else or whatever, I was like, okay, that's done. It was like drawing a line over it. I was like, okay, so now the hope is gone. And I think that's why I was getting so emotional, because the hope of getting back together, or like the thought that that was a possibility, was now officially gone, because I was like, now I know he's been with someone. I know myself, I know I could never get past that, so I just have to call it a day, and that is the end of that chapter. And I think that's why I was so emotional. But in a way, I got so much stronger from that downtime, from being that emotional, from being that low. I was like at my rock bottom, therefore I was in the perfect position to build the foundation blocks to start something new and to move on. And that's how you've got to see it. When you feel like you've hit your rock bottom, you are just getting ready, you are close to the ground to just jump back up and just to boost yourself even more and to find new amazing things. I'm sorry I speak so much with my hands, but I'm just very passionate about this subject. Long story short, don't check their social media, because there will be sly digs, There will be posts put out specifically to hurt you. Not in every case, but you don't want to look for something to hurt you, because why would you want to do that? Why would you want to make yourself feel even lower than you're already feeling? For me, I really struggled because we both had social media following, so I had loads of his people that followed him, attacking me for not being a good enough girlfriend. So not only was I bullying myself, there was also trolls. It was just a very rough time. Mute the stories. Don't watch their social media. Lovely. Another thing is surrounding yourself with loved ones or things you love doing. Something that is quite common in a relationship. When you become that close with someone, you invest a lot of time into them, you spend a lot of time with them, whether that's you just sitting at home cuddling or in an evening cooking dinner together or whatever. You have a lot of time invested into that person. So when they're removed from your life, that's something you're blessed with. You have extra hours in the day, extra days in the week to see other people and to do other things. My main piece of advice when people message me, reaching out, not knowing what to do, I'm like, you have been blessed with so much time. So for me, I started going to art galleries again and exploring exhibitions that I wanted to see and throwing myself into passions that I'd not been able to do or that I'd not seen as a priority when I was in a relationship. Like, you can prioritise other things. I saw friends that I hadn't seen in ages. I invested a lot more of my time into things that I love doing. I didn't have to have anyone question me or whatever, and I think that's such a positive. My recommendation would be to write a list of things that you love doing that you haven't done in a while, whether that's swimming, horse riding, walking, running, drawing, pottery painting. I went pottery painting and it was fantastic. Just all of these things that maybe you haven't had the time to do. Start distracting yourself in a positive, creative way. I started writing poetry again. Admittedly, they were all really depressing and sad, but it was a creative outlet where I could put my emotions out there. I'm not saying bottle your emotions and do something else to take your focus off of it, but you can divert your attention to other things rather than just like wallowing in self-pity, as savage as that sounds. Also, don't be afraid to ask for support. I know it can feel like you're the Debbie Downer of the group, but if you're really struggling, message someone. Just send a text and be like, do you know what, I'm really low. I'm trying to think of examples, but say you're going out for a girls' meal, just message them before and be like, look girls, if I need to leave early, it's because I'm feeling really low. People will understand. I think you need to realise that emotions aren't permanent. They come in waves and flow, and things change, and certain circumstances in your life will change. You need to know that what you're feeling right now is just a moment in time. Say for example, every day the first thing you do as soon as you wake up is think about them. There will be a day months down the line where you might not think about them till 9 o'clock, until you have your morning tea, and that's a micro victory. You've gone an hour, 2 hours without thinking of them, when usually they're the first thought on your brain. I know I've mentioned time being a blessing before, but time really is the biggest healer, and that is the most cliche thing I will ever say, but I promise you that over time things will get easier, but they do take work. Like I said, positive thoughts, positive actions, actively bringing and looking for positivity in your life, just celebrating things around you. I heard something, what was it I heard? It was on like a podcast or something, I can't remember which one it was, but it was like a breakup is like a small child in a strop. At first it's all guns blazing, screaming, anger, every emotion under the sun, snot bubbles, stamping on the floor, falling to the ground, really aggressive. But eventually it will die down and it will get easier, and they'll eventually give up having their little strop, probably get a little bit tired, and it will calm down. Like you'll one day get to 1 o'clock in the afternoon and not have even thought about your ex, and it will be the most empowering moment, because you'll be like, okay, I'm finally getting over this. I'm finally coming to terms with the fact that that is a chapter of my life that is done. I've looked for the lessons from it. I was lucky enough to have that love. One thing I would say is dating again can be very scary, very daunting, very overwhelming, but also exciting. Getting to meet someone new and being yourself and getting out there again. It can be hard at first because maybe all you're thinking about is your ex, but just to meet someone new. You don't have to go on a second date with them if you don't feel the connection, but it's just nice to actively have someone show an interest in you. I wasn't on any dating apps or anything, but oh my god, this is so embarrassing, but I went on a few dates with people that like slid into my DM. Luckily they had like mutual friends, like I knew people that they knew, so it wasn't like an actual crazy person. But I went on a couple of dates and it made me feel good, because I was getting to know new people and know that there's more out there, and I was having exciting conversation that I've never had before, and they were coming up with cool date ideas, and I was going to like mini golf and out for nice dinners and things. Oh my god, I've got pins and needles. Oh, We were trying new restaurants that I've never heard of, all of these things, and it was just nice to know that there is the possibility of something else happening. It wasn't just that was the last person that's gonna love me or ever show interest, or oh my god, I'm never gonna meet anyone ever again, there's no other males in the world. It was the first stepping stone to knowing that I was getting over him, and I went on a lot of dates. A lot of dates. Because I then knew what I was looking for and what I wasn't looking for. And there was a few moments when I was getting quite close to someone and we were spending a lot of time together, and I was like, do you know what? I need longer to grieve. Like, I was enjoying the dating process, but I was not ready to be in a relationship straight away. I was still thinking about my ex. I was like, it's not fair on him, it's not really fair on me. So I kind of cut things off, and I think that's okay to know. If you're not ready for something, you don't have to rush anything, but you just have to be at all times honest with yourself and honest with that person. Oh my god, one of the best things I ever did was I made a breakup playlist. It's on Apple Music, I'll link it below, and it was full. It wasn't like sitting on a train in the rain looking out the window sobbing my heart out internally kind of music. It was strong female empowerment songs like Little Mix, Beyonce, who else was on it? Britney, Janet Jackson, like loads of strong females with amazing upbeat songs that when I was walking down the road I felt sexy and sassy and empowered, and I blared that. Oh my god, Demi Lovato, Sorry Not Sorry, unbelievable song. That got me through. I listen to that pretty much every day. There's also another song called I Am Somebody. It's not a female singer, but oh my god, the lyrics are amazing. I'm gonna link that below. Listening to positive music, because there's no point in wallowing in dark, gloomy, Justin Timberlake, Cry Me a River. Hell no. You want to be listening to Little Mix Power and strutting down, flicking your hair and being like, do you know what? I am great. I offer so many amazing things to the world. I'm going to be an amazing girlfriend to someone one day. Like, knowing internally, it's not cockiness, it's not arrogance, it's being confident in yourself and being like, do you know what? I am a good person. I may not have been right for this person, but I am going to be amazing for the right person, you know? And they do come and they do exist. So I've got a boyfriend now. We met 8 or 9 months after the breakup, and some may say that that's a little bit rushed or whatever, but he was everything I was looking for in a person that I decided for my next partner I wanted. I watched a talk with Will Smith and his wife, and they basically said that to form a relationship, it's not two halves coming together to make a whole, it's two whole people coming together to make a team. And that is so important. You need to look for your team. There's the famous phrase or saying, you can't love someone until you love yourself, and that is so true. So all of this time that you've been given, that you've been blessed with from having that person removed from your life, you can invest all of that into yourself. Experiment, explore yourself. I think that's so amazing. Like, if you want to try a new haircut, you've got no one to judge you for it. If you want to try a new fashion, no one's gonna be like, oh babe, I don't like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can totally experiment and explore. Take yourself away for a weekend, go to a spa. Like, there's so many things you can do. Just know that this one person served their purpose in your life. They gave you a lot, they gave you happy memories, but you're ready for the next chapter, and you're ready to move on, and you're ready to be the best version of yourself. And sometimes that doesn't mean that person's in your life. You can be the best version of yourself alone, and then someone will come into your life that just accentuates that. You never have to change yourself to be with someone. Oh my god, the amount of times I've changed myself to like impress someone because I'm like, oh well, I really like them, so I really want them to like me. So there was one guy that I went on some of my dates with, and he was like a little bit quirky, so I wear my heart on my sleeve. I fall in love really easily, but I was like, oh my god, I love him. So I started to make myself like grungy and just a little bit more quirky, and I was just like, this isn't me. Like, looking back, I was definitely changing myself for him. Anyway, I know that going through a breakup is really horrible. It's not easy, it's lonely, but know that you are not alone. Even if this video didn't help you, watch another one. Listen to empowering music, do things that make you happy. If every day you're just day in, day out doing the same thing and there's no improvements, you're just going to get stuck in this circle. Whereas if you're like, nope, it's time for me to put a stop to this, make a change and start living again. That's what you need to do. You need to start living again, and living for yourself, not for another person. I think I've ranted for long enough. I'm very passionate about this topic. It's something I've wanted to do for so long, but I wanted to do it when I was in a positive mindset. I've now been in a relationship for 6 months. I am so unbelievably happy. It's a different kind of happiness to what I felt before. It's like a proper adult relationship where I can vocalize my feelings and be totally honest. I feel like I'm with my best friend all the time. It's something that now I can look back on that time, and I never would have been in the situation to meet someone like this if I hadn't have gone through that loss. And I hope the same for my ex as well. Like, he was really lovely and he was a big part of my life, and I want him to be happy. As much as I've been savage on social media myself, I do really want him to be happy. So I'm hoping that from his hurt and his heartache, he's then manage to find someone that's his perfect match. Here's a few little cringy quotes that I hope help you. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Pain means you're growing, fear means you're risking, tears mean it mattered. Take what hurts you and let it help you. Pain makes you stronger, tears make you braver, and heartbreaks make you wiser, so thank the past for a better future. And then the last one that I will leave you with before I go is, you are strong enough to face it all, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. I feel like if someone's watching this video, they're obviously going through a hard time right now, so I'm sending you so much love. I hope you're okay. It's a shit time, but I promise you, for someone that's come through it, it does get better, it does get easier. Just trust yourself, stay positive, and yeah, just give yourself some love. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a cheeky thumbs up. Let me know anything else you want to see. If you have any questions, I try to reply to every comment, so let me know in the box below, and I'll be back with another video soon. Bye.